Kuhn is the fullback with the first and goal. Kuhn gets the call. Pyle driving his way in for the touchdown. What a great second effort. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. I said so, I keep big bills up in my heart on the dirty like blood, so ain't got no twist in my head, but I'm still dreadful.
Hey everybody, and welcome. It's been a while to the Fantasy Fullback Dive, brought to you by the good people at the Roto Street Journal, paving your way and acting as your lead blocker to fantasy glory, fantasy success, fantasy titles, all that good stuff. It's the off season, but the off season's getting shorter and shorter, if you know what I mean. Like it's June. It's June, for God's sake.
Yes.
We're getting there. It's been a little nuts since the last time we were here. We had some sad news. We've also had some really good news, but we're still plugging along. We're going to talk a little about the sad news later on in the show. I hope you hang around. And we're doing something a little bit new today. I'm your host, Nat the Truth Jones. With me, as always, the Wolf of Roto Street himself. How you doing, Wolf?
Hey, I'm fantastic right now, given the fun shenanigans we just endured right before going on to this first ever trial run of the baked best ball draft. Two things I love more than anything: drafting and getting baked to wind down a nice day. So I'm pumped to combine them. We'll be also, of course, it's not just going to be pure nonsense. We'll talk some of my favorite players, my highest owned players, as we go into a live Best Ball Mania draft here. But yeah, I'm pumped to debut this with you. Looks like you've had a little partaking of yourself, right?
Yeah, just like a few minutes ago, actually. I wanted to come out fresh. Yeah.
Nice. Me as well.
So, yeah.
Perfect.
So this
I love
should be
it.
fun.
Well, as you guys come on in again, we'll be live drafting a best ball draft. Entering it now. Please consider hitting that thumbs up. We'll be drafting, as you can see. Let's bring it in here on Underdog. By far my favorite spot to be drafting right now for best ball. The Best Ball Mania, only $25 to enter. I'll hit enter now, and we'll just see how many more teams are needed to load this bad boy. We'll obviously fill the airtime. Looks like it's mostly filled 5 people, so just a quick few minutes probably to fill this thing up.
All right, let me ask you some questions before we get into it, since we got like a few minutes going. First of all, you've done a shit ton of these, right?
Yeah, too many, far too many.
So are you paying for each one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. And so here's my question. How much juice do you have right now in best ball draft for this upcoming season?
Oh, I mean, they calculate it for you.
I just want to know, like, how many of these you've done?
This is
you've
my
sent
highest
me tons of them.
And so I have specifically 355 invested into Donovan Peoples-Jones himself, because that is 70% of my drafts. So that's just a frightening sight. Just feeling, oh, okay. So
is your total all these entry fees added up?
No, God, no. Oh God, no. That's like,
I was like, you're talking about real money there.
No, 70% of the drafts I've done, I've drafted Donovan Peoples-Jones. So that's added up to. So it's right around probably $400, $500. Now I did win. What's really fueled my new addiction here is I won in the playoff best ball. I won like $800. I think I'm pretty good at this stuff. And that was a good test. I know playoffs is way different than this, but I've had a nice bankroll to be playing around with. So I'm not just a complete and utter degenerate. Although, I mean, I am, but that's helps feed the degeneracy for sure. Give me a nice little cushion to be testing these out, be getting these drafts in, and letting it rip. And we're just down to one more person we're waiting on too. So I'll pull this back up. We'll find out our draft spot in a second. But yeah, so I am putting my money where my mouth is this year and really entering these. I mean, $25 shot to win $2 million. Second place gets $1 million. Regular season winner gets $1 million as well. Yes, it's a big field. It's a
we're picking
long shot. But man, $25 at a shot to change our lives. Like, yeah, why not, right?
Yeah, I'm not criticizing you. I love that you do these things all the time. And, I'm just interested to see what the profit's going to be. And to know that, I got to know what you've got in already. Has the draft started? Are we
I'll be very
first?
Transparent with that at the end of the year. What I put in, how much I come out with. Hopefully it's certainly in the green. We will see. I've just been loving the teams I'm coming out with, so I can't stop doing them. I feel like there's some insane values right now that as much as I don't want to give them away because I want to keep getting these players, they're just, I can't believe how cheap some of these guys are going. And granted, a lot of the big values, in my opinion, are a lot of the big risks as well. We're going for a $2 million prize here. We have to beat a ton of people. So you got to take some of those big swings. And for me, we'll talk about them as we go. But the Browns is a team I'm loading up on in hopes that Deshaun Watson gets a very small suspension. If he gets over half the season, or God forbid, I saw a report, he might be done for the year. a lot of my teams are going to just be completely sinking. And a lot of those entry fees, again, 70% Donovan Peoples-Jones at $355 into him just alone. There's going to be some teams that go down. But let's say he gets only 2 games. Let's say he gets none. He plays the whole season. Deshaun Watson, for one's going to leap ups and bounds and values. David Njoku, who's my highest owned tight end right now, would leap bounds. Donovan Peoples-Jones, as we said, like all those guys would jump 3-4 rounds. So I'm taking those risks right now. That's just kind of a general overview. As we get started, we'll be drafting 9. But yeah, so we will see how it all goes for sure.
Man, I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
What'd you smoke before you came on the air?
Yeah, as it comes to the most important conversation, I'm a big sativa guy. I like the energy. I like the uplift. I don't like melting into the couch really, unless it's like completely late at night and I just want to crush a carton of ice cream and just fall asleep on the couch, which we all have those nights. But I did sour diesel myself today, just a classic strain. Yeah, everybody knows that. I have the sour Joker variant as well, so I've kind of mixed a little bit of that, a little salad, if you will, of the sours. How about you?
I had some orange cake Kush. I'm a fan of the Kush line. This is a hybrid, which I'm not usually super into hybrids, but it's listed as making you feel happy, tingly, and focused. And I was like, that sounds good.
We need that focus for sure tonight, baby.
Right.
Love to see it. So we're already off here. We've got Taylor, Kupp, McCaffrey, Jefferson, Lamb. I'm going to pull up the draft board so you guys can see. Oh, it's our pick already. Bam.
We're on the clock. We're on the clock. This is big.
So I'm going to go Derrick Henry. I mean, do you agree with that, or do you think that's too big of a risk here?
I think that we're ceiling chasing, and so I think he's the guy with the best ceiling out there, and he's an RB. Go for it.
Yeah. All righty. We'll go Derrick Henry here. Just because, again, I mean, the guy was the most fantasy points per game last year among running backs, more than Jonathan Taylor. He was just on an insane tear. He had over 700 yards after contact. I saw this stat yesterday. After contact. That was in 7 games. That is just insanity to have that much. I think Taylor put up like 1,000 or so after contact across 17 games. So it just goes to show you the type of season he's having. No A.J. Brown now. I mean, they're going to have to lean on this guy for sure. And so, yeah, as we were talking about, I'll try to cover, well, at least try to bring some sort of analysis to this beyond just the sour strains are great. Good sativas. I love early rounds. Always going running backs, that's always been, if you've been following Roto Street for any length of time, I've always been a bell cow breeder. Love getting the running backs. My highest owned first round.
We're on the clock, Wolf. We're on the clock.
Yeah. Oh, we're on the clock.
Let's take this seriously.
I'll talk more strategy in a little bit. I do like Mark Andrews here. I really like Nick Chubb. I think he goes way too late, and he's not going to fall to us in round 3. What are your thoughts?
Well, if we're trying to build the stable like you're talking about, Chubb is not a bad pick. I'm surprised he's ranked below all these guys.
Him or Kamara? We got to pick. I'm going to go Chubb.
I would go Chubb.
Yeah, because there is a potential suspension looming. And let's talk about him because he is I was going to hint at, first round, kind of your slot obviously dictates it. But Nick Chubb's somebody I've been scooping up actually in over half of my drafts, and that's uncommon for a second round pick. So I'm putting a lot of my eggs into the Nick Chubb basket. Easy talent to bet on. I mean, right? Is he the best running back in the NFL? Maybe.
He's in a good situation too.
Yeah, and that's, it's a good situation in the sense that the offense should elevate. Yes, they might be throwing more. They've talked about splitting out to more 3 wide sets with Deshaun Watson. Makes sense. In fact, I hope it happens. And in fact, maybe his touches do go down, and I see all that argument. Makes sense. But I think the quality of the touches in a spread offense, in an offense that actually commands some respect from the quarterback position, he's going to be facing by far the lightest boxes whenever Watson does take the field. He's going to be having the most touchdown chances he's ever had. So yeah, Kareem Hunt's still there, and he's going to eat some receptions. I understand that. I think Nick Chubb might score 15 to 20 touchdowns this year. Like if he stays healthy,
I could see 15,
is that crazy? Yeah. What do you think?
I think 20 is more than he's going to. Oh, this is a 17-game season now. I was going to say 15, 16. I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable.
No. And you guys can see the draft as it's gone, DeAndre Swift, like Swift over Chubb. No, thank you. I know he's going to catch a ton more balls, but this is a good time to point out the scoring system. It's half PPR on Underdog. So obviously, DraftKings, if you're drafting there, full PPR switches up a bit. I'd probably go Kamara there in that sense, but in a half PPR setting, yeah, I get Chubb's receiving upside is probably as low as it gets among running backs for not his own fault. The guy can catch. You've seen him make insane one-handed grabs. There also is the off chance that Kareem Hunt, he's got a pretty big contract hit, and I think they are off the books for all his money if they release him or they trade him. And so I've seen some rumblings. Maybe he gets traded. If that happened, I mean, Nick Chubb would be going top 5, or at least he would deserve to go top 5 if he has that role nearly all to himself. One of the best lines in football, again, with the offense taking big steps. So there is a chance like Nick Chubb is only going to rise. And I think, especially where he's going like 22, 23, we took him at 16, so we quote unquote reached on him. But I think there is a chance he actually rises in value. He would skyrocket if something like that happens. And even if not, at 22, like you're getting a ton of upside based on what this offense could look like with him. What
are your thoughts on this guy taking CeeDee Lamb with the 5 overall pick?
Yeah, that's the crazy. I was like, is the sour joker hitting me a little too hard right now? So I have 2 reactions to it. One, do I agree? No, I would never take him at 5. But I also do love the fact that CeeDee Lamb probably wasn't making it back to this guy at this point. So if you want your guy,
that's the thing.
You know what I mean? Like, if you want your guy and that who you think's going to be a league winner, and CeeDee Lamb, he's kind of disappointed through the first 2 years, but no Amari Cooper. Apparently grew an inch this offseason. Did you see that report? Like he grew a half inch. Who the hell's still growing at age 23? But that's another case in point is he's only 23. He's still young. He's flashed superstar upside multiple times. No Amari Cooper. Really, especially if Michael Gallup's banged up, and we're about to be picking, so we should probably take a look at the players. I do like James Conner. I love Keenan Allen or Josh Allen. Actually, I would go either of those two.
I don't think we can take a quarterback with our 3rd pick.
I'm telling you, though, Josh Allen's that different edge.
You think Allen,
a lot of the highest winning ones. I think he's just head and shoulders above Mahomes, the next closest.
And then what do we do? Just like try to hit all upside receivers?
Yep. It's exactly what we're going to do.
Okay. Then
so we
take
took Josh Allen.
Then take Josh Allen.
One of these days, I'll be happy to write a whole article about why. Like I've always been a wait on quarterback guy. It's a philosophy as our backbone. Josh Allen's changing that for me. We saw it like that. None of that. Where's the Cam out? Like remember we chased Cam Newton that one year? It's like
I do.
That's like the cautionary tale. Josh Allen's on a different level. You can agree with that, right?
That he's better than Cam Newton was?
Like significantly in every sense of the word. Maybe not as a runner, but as a passer. We're talking about 2 completely
You don't need
people.
to qualify it. He's much better.
Yeah. So I have no worries. Like as long as he stays healthy, we're getting 25 plus a game. So we don't even have to potentially draft a second quarterback because we're just putting that much faith in Allen. Maybe we take like Davis Mills last round.
But we're never going to be starting
quarterback.
We're never going to be starting somebody. Well, I know it's best ball, but whoever we would end up with second is never going to be the best ball guy over Allen. Never. Maybe like once a year randomly or something.
That type of thing. So I love, and that's why I was going to say one of my highest early round picks is Josh Allen. About 25% of my team so far. When he falls to me in round 3, I cannot resist it. If Keenan Allen was there, I probably would have gone Keenan. But to me, I mean, James Conner was one of the other ones.
I'd rather have Josh Allen than Keenan Allen in this scenario. Yeah. Also, would you rather have CeeDee Lamb or Nick Chubb?
Nick Chubb, always.
Yeah, right. And we got him like
PPR, maybe
11 picks now, later.
Hey, we have our pick here. Yeah. Another one of my highest owned picks right now is Zeke Elliott, looking great in camp, great offense. I know we're already stacked at running back. We need a receiver. It's either Marquise Brown or Mari Cooper or Zeke. What do you think?
God, I want to go Zeke there, but I don't know.
I'm in.
All right.
And so now we also just load up on receivers for our next few rounds. And hope that they don't go crazy. But let me talk about the case for each of those guys. I didn't obviously have the chance to kind of extrapolate them and elaborate on my points here. But Zeke, one was the RB6 last year. I know he looks sluggish. I know how good Tony Pollard looks. I think with the money they're giving him, they don't care. They're going to ride this guy for 270 to 300 touches. The Dallas Cowboys offense, everything other than Cooper is still intact. The offense coordinator is still there. They're still going to be top 5. They scored the most points in the league last year. And Zeke, before he played with a partially torn PCL all year. One, that just shows you the guy's an absolute phenom and machine to do that. But 2, before he went down, he was looking explosive. He was catching the ball at an insane rate, just looking crazy in the screen game. I mean, he was looking. I think we forget how good Zeke looked, and everything says right now he's in some of the best shape of his career time of the year, as we all know. But they're saying Zeke's looking good. They clocked him at like 22 miles per hour in practice and all that good stuff. I love Zeke, so that's my case for him. I know we already had 3 running backs, but I think we now have a top 2 and a flex almost every week. If Zeke's is good, I think he's going to be right back to 19 to 20 points a week type of guy. What's your thoughts on Zeke? I know I've been rambling a bit here.
Does the weed make you just like a machine gun talker?
Apparently, the sours I get just loose lips, can't stop.
Well, so right now I will say just a quick status report on myself. I do feel happy, tingly, and focused. So as advertised, Orange Cake Kush. Good job.
Yeah. What was it? The Golden Kush?
Orange Cake Kush.
Oh, orange cake, even better.
It's they say on the website it says formerly or also known as OKC. I don't know why.
What would you like? What level of tingly would you say you are? If it was like 1
this
to
is
10,
like a good amount, not like jittery. I don't like feel like I've had a bunch of coffee or anything like that. Just a nice little body buzz, but not a melting into the couch body buzz.
Okay,
body buzz.
That's like my perfect high right there.
Yeah. No, I'm feeling pretty good. How close are we being on the clock here?
We got a little bit here. So
okay.
When we pick at the the next round and then the one after, they come quick, and then we have a nice little like 20 pick break. So that's why we can analyze your tingles.
You see the golf match between Tom Brady and your boy Aaron Rodgers and Allen and Mahomes?
I saw it's happened. I haven't really been paying too much attention to it.
No, I saw the outcome. I saw what happened. Brady and Rodgers won.
Oh, hell yeah. Putting the young pups in their place. Love it. As you can see, receivers are flying off the board. I was hoping, at least one of these guys, Brown, Cooper, A-Rob, would fall to us. They haven't yet. But the guy I really want, and I hate to say it loud.
Oh, come on. Gabe Davis? He's on the board?
Gabe Davis, because we have Josh Allen. Stacking is a huge
we got to take Gabe Davis.
So let's pray and hope Gabe Davis falls to us.
We got Josh Allen
mid rounds here. So we talk. I ended up taking a few of my favorite own guys though. Is Chubb, is Zeke. I've taken most of those guys in almost all of them. I've got Chubb in 50%, Zeke in 48%. So that's a lot of my second and fourth. I usually go Deontay Johnson in the third instead of Josh Allen, but Josh Allen falls. I take him in round 3 every time, just the edge he gets. So that's just a summary of some of the things we've covered here. And now we're in the mid-round plays.
Dude, we could have the Davis Allen stack.
And here we go. We got it. He just fell to us. We're going to get that stack going.
This is just like stealing money from people right now.
Yeah. Here comes 2 million, baby. You might as well just retire tomorrow, Truth. I'm going to not even show up to work.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to move to a bigger house.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So we've got Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Zeke Elliott, and Gabe Davis to kick off this draft. I like that start a lot.
For best ball? I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
Loving that start. Think it's fantastic. We got some comments coming in too. So given this is, again, the best ball kind of more baked style, we could be a little more relaxed. Get to some of those questions as we go. We are going to be up in just a second here. So we'll wait until one thing. But if you have questions, you have comments, you're smoking something you want to share with us, what you got, getting ready for the Celtics to spank some cheeks tonight, whatever it is, send it on in, talk with us as we go here. We'll keep giving analysis, but we'll also love to just kind of keep it low key on this type of show too. So,
we're nothing if not low key.
The best thing I am is low key. So I do think another receiver makes sense. So I'm just going to filter this out to receivers, given we have quarterbacks and running backs galore. I mean, I'm a fan of Eli Moore. I know you don't love him. I do love Amon-Ra St. Brown.
But
what's that?
Man, I mean, I prefer Amon St. Brown to Eli Moore.
Really?
I'm just up there looking at Michael Thomas, and I'm just like, God, remember how great he was like two years ago?
Olave's shining. Landry's now there. He just, it could be, I mean,
Well, it's best ball. I wish it was around later. Because, man, talk about potential upside and talk about potential, like, floor.
I had to game
time floor is like
sorry,
0.
I took Eli Moore, but continue on, and then we'll talk about that.
I mean, well, is there a higher ceiling, lower floor guy than Mike Thomas?
Probably not. No, I think that's a really, like, maybe I'm just running through my brain. Like, no.
I mean, he could get 0, but I mean, we've seen what this guy is. If the New Orleans offense is popping at all, and I mean, he's a part of it, like, man, he could blow up. But it's such a gamble because, I mean, you really could get nothing out of him.
So, Truth, in the early best ball drafts, because I've been doing these things since like February, because again, I'm sick. He was my highest owned receiver for like the early best ball drafts and the rounds before this. Since then, reports have come up that he's still not really practicing, still not healthy. They've added Olave, they've added Jarvis Landry. To me, like the ceiling and the floor, when you at the beginning of the offseason, yes, I've got a guy that could maybe catch 150 with no competition, probably going to be back at full health. Could also just not play because who knows what the fuck's ever going on with him. But then I feel like the floor has just gotten even somehow lower, and the ceiling has kind of come down a little bit with it.
I hear what you're saying.
16 healthy games, right? Like he's facing a lot more competition. I love Olave. I think he might be the best rookie receiver in this class. He's getting compared to, Marvin Harrison by the GM right now. So like yes, is the ceiling big? Sure. But he's become a fade for me. So,
well, like I said, I wished it had been around later. I wasn't quite willing to take a stab at him. I just saw him on top of the board and I was like, man, but I mean, how many times have we chased Josh Gordon?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like every year of his career since like 2013.
I know. Oh God. He was such a cock tease. I do think we're talking about my highest owned guys in the mid rounds. So Eli Mitchell just going right there. He is definitely among my highest owned guys.
Gary W says the devil's lettuce is crisp tonight on my end. Enjoying the show, boys. Glad you're enjoying some cabbage as well.
Hey, thanks, Gary. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I appreciate you being here. Hell yeah. What are you smoking, Gary W? Let us know. That's the exact type of clientele we're hoping to hang with here right before the Celtics this championship run.
What do you think about the game tonight?
What my thoughts? I mean, I'm an optimist Boston fan, so I think the Celtics are the better team. I will say this. I am a little bit worried we might get slapped in this first game. But I do think we win the series in 7. I think it goes all the way, and I think we're the better team. I think eventually we pull it out. The Jays show up.
Yeah, I'm picking the Celtics in 6, and like you, I wouldn't be shocked if they got smacked around tonight.
Yeah, it's what happened against the Bucks. They didn't really smack, but they were flat.
They got beat pretty solidly game 1 against the Bucks.
Right. Exactly. Something like that, maybe. We're going to be up in a couple picks, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. And then, so we're getting at some of my highest roster players. Eli Mitchell, I love the value on him. They've already said he's their guy. I mean, there's a crazy stat out there. Like whenever he was starting, I don't think he saw less than 20 touches in all, but like he saw 20 plus touches in all, but I think 2 contests. And they did add a rookie who I love as a later round pick, Tyrion Davis-Price, one of my highest owned late round flyers, but Eli Mitchell has become one of the mid-round guys I am absolutely peppering. Big fan of Hunter Renfrow here. Another guy.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That's who
he just went.
Oh, we didn't get him?
I like Thielen, though, too. What are your thoughts on him?
Is Eli Mitchell gone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. And we already have 3 running backs, too.
Yeah, but man,
I'm gonna take Thielen.
Yeah, you might.
And then
if
you don't like him, tell me why. But
no, it's not that I don't like him, and I'm not saying I would. It's tough because it's like you got 30 seconds on the clock, and we're high and we're like debating stuff, and it's like you got to pull the trigger at some point. So I would say my biggest reservation on Thielen, and it's probably not a great reason, is he's a very unsexy pick.
So unsexy.
Yeah, he's on the unsexy team, right?
Yeah. What I've learned though with Best Ball Truth, last year was my first year really ever playing it. And you think of Best Ball and you think of, you have to have the blow up guys, the big home runs, and you do. It's good to have those guys. Why is Donovan Peoples-Jones my most owned player? Because he's going to have a couple weeks where he scores 30, even if he does nothing the rest of the year. You need that. You need the upside and certainly win these. But I had so many teams that just didn't have that like steady 10-point wide receiver 3 or that especially at quarterback is where I got crushed because I went all in on Trey Lance. My bridge to him was Ryan Fitzpatrick. He gets knocked out early, and that just immediately murdered like half of my rosters. So as I talked about taking a lot of Deshaun Watson, I've been doing that, but I've also been doing that like after I have a Matt Stafford already. Or if I take him, I immediately follow up with like Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins and get like a nice safe backup. That's the unsexy with hints of upside is something I do chase a lot. And I'm intrigued by this. And I know it's our pick here, but I'm intrigued by the Rams offense as a whole. I mean, the Rams, the Vikings, given they have the Rams offensive coordinator now there. All righty. So we have 3 receivers. I do like Olave a lot, but it might be early. What are your thoughts on going Dawson Knox here? I know it's a bit of a reach, but he probably won't fall to us. And we have Josh Allen.
Yeah, we have Josh Allen. Let's go Knox. And also Knox. He looks like he gets high like all the time.
Yeah. I think tight ends would be the chillest position. Like if you had a group to hang out with, they've got to be like the coolest position, right?
Probably so. I mean, I think of tight ends stereotypically, and I just think of them as guys that are like headbutting like brick walls and stuff for fun. And like closing bars down for all. Yeah.
You're telling me.
Well, there's a look with some of these tight ends. Look up a picture of what's his face, Tyler Higbee.
Oh, Higbee definitely. I mean, with that stash.
Come on.
Higbee, where's Higbee going?
Yeah,
20.
find him.
I mean, pretty good value on Higbee. Oh yeah.
Look
I
at
mean,
him.
come on, sparking up blunts.
Move it up a little bit.
After practice.
It's under a banner. Move it up. No, other way.
Oh, is
Other
it?
way.
Shit.
This is high wolf.
So I can't really see the stream. So if anything seems off,
don't worry about it. Trust me, Higbee looks like he's stoned.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Who do you think gets baked the most in the NFL?
Kittle looks like he's hammered a lot.
So I'm just going to queue up some guys here, and Kenneth Walker, potential RB1. Interesting stat I saw at Truth the other day was rookie running backs. The number one rookie running back score has finished top 15 in 5 straight years and top 6 in like 4 out of 5 years. And I've always kind of chased rookie upside. And that's the stat that like perfectly illustrates why. Is one of these rookie running backs probably going to be Breece Hall, who's long gone. One of my favorite mid-round targets. He goes in like round 4. Beautiful pick. Right. But who says it's not Kenneth Walker on a disgusting Seahawks team that is going to try to run it 35, 40 times a game, matter how far down they are?
Don't you think they're going to be terrible?
Yeah. Oh, they're going to be one of the grossest teams. Geno Smith's that fucking quarterback. If it's not him, it's Drew Lock. So yeah, it's an awful offense. It's going to be gross. But Kenneth Walker's an absolute stallion. So he could be that mid-round running back that goes. I love Olave, as I already said, getting all those, butter smooth everything that we saw on tape that we loved and talked about. Thor calling him a separation machine. Great rookie interview if you guys haven't seen that. Love that. I also do really like Devin Singletary, again, because we have Josh Allen. And this was the number 2 running back score in fantasy football playoffs last year. Yes, they drafted James Cook. He's going to eat into his receiving workload, but I think Singletary could still put up 12 touchdowns in round 10 here. So those are a couple guys I like. Any of those sticking out to you?
We're going all in on the Bills.
What better offense to do it for, right?
Yeah, I agree. Makes a lot of sense. I just want to say Gary W. said Russell Gage is who he liked when we took who did we take?
We took Dawson Knox.
Right. Well, anyway, he liked Russell Gage. He says he's number 2 in the Brady offense, and he'll end up being a great value at his current ADP.
Oh, so you know what? We took Adam Thielen over.
Right.
Gage.
No, Thielen. And then also Wes said that Thielen's the most boring 10 points a game that you can buy.
It's true. But I don't know if you can pull up his stats. The guy has scored, I think, 10 plus touchdowns, at least 9 in how many years in a row?
No, it's,
he's a touchdown machine.
He's unsexy, not because he's not good. It's just like it's not exciting owning Adam Thielen. He's saying the same thing I said. I said he's unsexy. He's saying he's the most boring 10 points a week you can buy. Yeah,
unsexy
I stand by that
baby.
point.
That's like the motto this year, though, is those players that don't look good and they fall because of it, and you just get value.
What's a really, really good team name for a team of just really unsexy players?
Unsexy Upside. What could be a good name for that?
Yeah, I mean, just a team of just. So, who are some of our favorite unsexy guys?
I'm gonna go Singletary here, by the way.
I agree.
He's still there.
I agree. We said Randall Cobb. We talked about him being.
He's as unsexy as it gets, and the upside's definitely limited. But as we're going to talk about my last round flyers. Yeah. I think there's unsexy. He's like a great example of that. He might catch the most balls among Packers receivers, which is probably the most important question to answer as of now. Is who is going to be their best receiver? Is it Watson, who's already struggling with drops in practice? We know Aaron Rodgers, Scott Barrett, one of my favorite guests. I'm going to pull the trigger on Singletary and then talk about this, which was like a great tweet, but also pretty educational in this sense. Is he tweeted out, did a report that Christian Watson struggling in drops of practice, and he retweeted and said, Aaron Rodgers notoriously forgiving of drops, and completely obviously is the last person that's ever going to forgive a rookie for dropping the ball, being in the wrong spot, making a mistake. So I am getting a little bit nervous, as freakish as he is. And our guy, Thor, who again came on just a couple weeks ago to talk to rookies, raved about him. And so I've been taking a bit of him on the back of that raving, but I'm also quite nervous that, he might not even see the field if Rodgers is pissed off at him, in which case, is it Lazard, who went 87? Oh my, holy shit. That's crazy. Lazard went 87, which if he's the number 1, it's going to be a screaming bargain. But Randall Cobb goes the last round and he might be the number 1. So that's a great rant, Sour Diesel. Your
this rant is brought to you by Sour Diesel. Yeah, by the way, if any of you guys want to, sponsor the show or even just make an appearance or whatever, let us know.
Yeah. Fueling this rant, Sour Diesel.
Yeah, we would work, surprisingly cheap as far as weed would go.
Any sponsors? I mean, yeah, exactly.
We're on the clock, so let's pick one, and then I got something. I'll read Wes's comment.
Okay. I like Gallup a lot. I like Melvin Gordon, even though we're pretty loaded at back. If we take Gordon, we don't take any more running backs, which I'm fine with too. I do like Rondale Moore a bit, and we have Allen, so I don't really like Watson. What do you think? I'm saying Gallup or Melvin Gordon. I'll go Gallup.
I would probably go Gallup if I gun to my head. We need a receiver more.
Yeah.
Wes says Adam Thielen is just a 2014 Honda Civic.
That's a great comparison. We could definitely do like a player to car comparison for sure.
That's a great idea. Remember I called didn't I call Derrick Henry a dump truck one time and you got mad?
Yeah, I was like, because a dump truck is like slow and he's thick and big, but he's like a dump truck that has like turbo boosters on it.
Yeah, you're right. He's a souped up dump truck.
Okay, I can buy that. Like I can get on board for a souped up.
Like gigantic wheels.
He's more of a monster truck. Let's put it that way.
You need like a ladder to get in.
Right, exactly. Yes. Well, isn't his nickname like Tractor Cito? Or that must be
if it's not, it should be. We should start selling shirts right now that say that shit.
That was pardon my take. I think they started the Tractor Cito nickname, but he truly is like a little tractor. And I mean,
he's not that little of a tractor.
Yeah,
I've seen tractors smaller than that. Mitch Chavez says the Average Joes would be a good name for the unsexy team.
Yeah, that's true.
Gary W says ugly side up. I feel like it's good. I feel like we need to do something featuring one of the really unsexy players, like kind of so-and-so and the so-and-sos or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
and Cobbs.
Randall Cobb and I don't know.
Yeah, like what food? It would be like corn on the cob and like, some other shit.
Something really boring.
Right, exactly.
And water out of the tap.
Yeah. Tap water.
Tap water.
Tap water.
It's not a bad.
That's a pretty good name.
Good name. It's a good name for a band too.
Tap water.
Gary W. Chase Edmonds will win the Dolphins RB1 job, most money and most efficient.
So most money, 100%, most efficient. Yes. I could totally see it being a quagmire of backs, even if he is the best of them. It's a tricky situation because it is the Mike McDaniels, the run blocking guru from the 49ers who, again, how many times on the show will I say, I will come all day over a zone blocking scheme. He's the guru of this. So yes, I love all of that. But the thorn to that rose is there's always confusion on who's leading the way and who's the main carrier and all that. Yes, last year, Eli Mitchell kind of bucked that trend. But even then, Eli Mitchell, for 5-6 straight years, we've had a different top scoring running back for the 49ers. So they always play games. I'd like Edmonds, but I also think, they paid Sony Michel, Mostert, less than him, but he could also be a steal. So I do get that. Who was the one shouting out Chase Edmonds?
Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, who was shouting him out?
Gary W. And he says he also agrees with the confusion you're talking about in Miami.
Yeah, but if he emerges at the top, there's a good podcast today called Ambiguous Backfields. I listened to JJ Zachary's show. And that's one of those ones, like the RB1 typically emerges as the RB1 according to his data. Mind-blowing. But Chase Edmonds is the perceived RB1. He's probably going to do so. Now, at this point, I kind of like Jamison Crowder because, again, he's on the Bills and we're just stacking up.
I was just thinking, why not? Someone's going to go off.
We're taking him a little early. We're reaching on him here, but I don't want to risk him not making his way back to us.
All right, that's fair.
And so we're talking about, highest owned later rounds. We're now 11 to 15. I take Crowder in almost every draft, normally at 140. But if I have Josh Allen, I really go out of my way to make sure I get there. And typically I see him go after Landry, who just went, and after Myers. Now we're looking at 3 slot weapons and all in, similar situations, not at the top of their target totem poles necessarily. Why isn't Crowder the easiest first guy out of Landry, out of Myers? If I'm taking a slot, give me the guy tied to Josh Allen, right?
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, we're all in on this Bills thing. I don't see any reason to deviate from that now.
No, God, no. And what better team to be in on? I texted you this a few weeks ago when I was looking at week 17. Isn't it like Bills Bengals week 17? Yeah. I mean, Monday Night Football, if I'm not mistaken, too. Yeah. If we're in there for $2 million, well, give me my boys on Monday Night Football and a potential shootout. That could end up being like the playoff game we just saw between the Chiefs and Bills Like that could
Yeah.
be just bananas.
We should go get like a big hotel suite at the Mohegan Sun or something if that ends up being where $2 million comes down to.
I kind of like going Jacoby Myers here.
Yeah.
Or Irv Smith. We could go for a tight end.
I like Myers more.
Yeah, let's get another, just because again, our receivers aren't our strength, but the more of these just like unsexy guys who we know will probably get us 10 most weeks, like, well, we'll have the weeks where maybe Eli Moore goes for 25 and then Gabe Davis the next week. We have these kind of steady guys. I imagine each week we're going to have 3 running backs, between Henry, Chubb, Zeke, and Singletary. I'm guessing we're going to have 2 backs and a flex. So we really just need 3 receivers to pan out each week. I do like a ton of the later round guys too. This is why I also don't mind punting receiver. I feel like everybody's obsessed getting receivers early in best ball. I get the argument for it, but some of these late guys, so like KJ Osborne has plenty of spike weeks. You already saw my highest owned guy, Donovan Peoples-Jones, will have a few spike weeks. So like there's plenty of names.
You love that guy.
I really do love DPJ. I love David Bell, who's going to probably take over the slot role for them. Jalen Tolbert, a rookie, exciting rookie for the Cowboys. So there's some late round receivers that I end up getting a bunch of them. One of my favorites, like we're now talking like later rounds, is Kendrick Bourne, pick 193. He was the wide receiver 12 in fantasy. And was it a frustrating wide receiver 12? Yes, because it was like 1 week 30, the next week 0. But again, that's best ball. That's like, you don't want too many of those guys. You over rely on them and you get a couple duds, every single week. But there's going to be plenty of weeks where if you have a couple, I figured out this year, I'm trying to take a much more balanced, like those swing for the fences, but also that nice even keeled team too. So Kendrick Bourne's a perfect type of guy that I know is going to be panning out, pretty late. So yeah, that's kind of a toss up of just a bunch of receivers. We're talking about later round guys. I'm really into the late round receivers this year. And that's why I like going these crazy heavy, what did we do? Friggin' Henry, Chubb,
and Zeke. And then we got Josh Allen.
Talk about a more fucking just, man, like steak and potatoes team.
Yeah, seriously. We're such a steak and potatoes team. We really are.
We've always kind of been that way. That's like we've always been meaty running backs early.
But this is really meaty. Like this is a really meaty team.
This would be the meatheads. That would be this team, the meatheads.
Right. This is a very
just
meaty
pure
team.
Meat.
And I love it. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. This is not football related at all.
Okay.
I saw something on the ticker of like a news channel a while back, maybe a couple years ago, and I've always remembered this. It said the headline was "Dozens of snakes found dumped in Arkansas Walmart parking lot." And so, first of all, excellent. I'm glad that made the news. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Second of all, how many snakes do you think it was? When someone says dozens, what's that?
I mean, dozens. When you go to dozens, you're talking at least 6 or 7 dozens, right? Like,
right. Well, right. Because if it was like, it's got to be over 2 dozen, but it's not going to be like 8 dozen because then you'd say like 100, right? So it's got to be. There's got to be
right because once you cross like the 100, you go 100 plus.
Right. There are more than 100. You're probably looking at
like 75.
So, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like in the 60 to 75.
Oh shit! It's range. Our pick.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna go Hunter Henry.
All right.
He looks like he get baked.
Oh, he does. Good call.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like 60 to 75 snakes.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call. 65 to 70.
And then wouldn't you love the backstory on that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of our best content producers, who knows if he's tuned in right here, Taylor's from Arkansas. What the hell's going on over there?
I know y'all need to tighten up your Walmart parking lots.
Seriously. So I know I tossed in a bunch of receivers I like, so I'll balance it out and give you some of my favorite later round running backs here. I don't know about Khalil Herbert, but he has such an easy late schedule, so that's part of it. Great article by Jack Miller about late season schedule. It's crucial. You need to have those players that just. You know how it happens. You just think of your regular fantasy leagues. There's always some guys that were okay in the regular season that just go. I mean, Joe Burrow is a great example of that this year. Like he was okay all year, like pretty good, but then went crazy in the playoffs. And now he's going top 6. Like, probably deserves to. I don't know. I like this rookie. It's going to be our pick, Truth. I know I'm giving you some stuff to chew on, and I like this David Bell kid. I like Gus Edwards, but I don't love him. I really like Daryl Williams I want to get him at some point because he's backing up James Conner in a great offense. But I'm going to say David Bell or Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Well, DPJ is very on brand for you.
All right, we're going on brand. I might have gone too early, though. I think he was like 180. I could have probably got him on the way back.
Gary W. wants to know if we're running a season-long subscriber league this year by any chance.
We certainly could consider it. It's tricky because I am in a lot of leagues and like it just I don't want to do a league with a bunch of fans and then not give it the attention it deserves. So if I look at the schedule and we have the bandwidth, I'm absolutely in. Either way, we could probably get like just 12 fans together and do it. But I'm guessing they want to compete like with us. Maybe that's just like an asshole thing to, I don't know. But like I'd love to do it is the thing. It gets so tough during the school year with a shitload of leagues. Like it just, I don't know. The start of this year is always busier than the end. And it's always the fall is crazy. It's just nuts. So I would love to. I'll see what like the schedule's looking like for school and stuff.
Hey, guess what I started watching?
What did you start watching?
What's it called on Severance?
Oh, what are your thoughts?
It's wild, man.
Isn't it great? I told you I love that one.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm watching it. Is on your recommendation.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, enjoying it.
We could have gotten DPJ. I'm looking. One of the best things to do, and this is a big moment by me.
You mean like we could have got him later?
Yeah, in the sense of I love the draft view. It's even better in the app, to be honest, with Underdog. But you can see, okay, I had pick 160. He goes 180. I was worried that like we couldn't get DPJ and Daryl Williams later. And so I overshot it in hopes of getting them both. But if you look at 177, 184, that's their ADPs. I could have probably gotten both of those guys here, gotten a nice upside rookie like David Bell. Other than that, I mean, there's not too many guys that went that I'm like, oh, damn, I missed out. I mean,
Daryl Williams is still on the board.
Yeah, I know. I think, but what I'm saying is I think Daryl Williams and DPJ could have been 177,
our next two picks. I got you.
Like, I'm not saying I passed those guys up. We just missed. Really, only David Bell's the one that I sit there. I'm like, oh, damn. Alec Pierce intrigues me a little bit. Okay. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I got to get DPJ. He's my guy at this point.
Yeah, you got to.
I say Daryl Williams next. What are your thoughts?
You know I'm a Daryl Williams guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, let's hope he makes it to us. Damn it. There he goes.
Oh, too bad. What do you think? Bourne? What do you think, Bourne?
I think we're a little early on Bourne. I mean, there's OBJ, there's Mostert. I like Gerald Everett, but we just took a tight end. I don't think we need another.
OBJ does not have a team, correct?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, that makes him a little risky.
Which is what it's all about, too, though, you know?
Right, but I mean, like, what round are we right now? Like the 15th?
We're getting pretty late. We're around 15.
I mean, he might not be a bad stab at 15.
Yeah, even if he's just somewhere, even if he goes back to the Rams and he's good for November.
He goes back and has like 3 good games.
Exactly. He was great with the Rams. So even if he goes back there, imagine he lands with the Packers. He'll be going to 8 rounds earlier if he lands with the Packers.
I think it's a good 15th round pick. I mean, we're not, that's exactly. It's a shit pick.
And then we go Bourne next, You
like Bourne more than Gus?
That's a good question, actually. Gus just went anyways.
Oh, never mind. Because I kind of
might have been a decent pick.
I like Gus maybe a little bit more.
Than OBJ?
No, than Bourne. I thought the OBJ pick was good.
Yeah. I like Gus there. But there's a few running backs I really like late, and there's a couple of receivers I like really late. So we only have one quarterback, but again, I don't know that we even draft another one. Like with Josh Allen, like it might be just a burn pick. So a couple guys, we're talking like the late round flyers here that I really like. A lot of receivers. We already talked about Unsexy, but I think some genuine playability. Where is he? Randall Cobb.
Oh, yeah. So unsexy.
We're up. So Kendrick Bourne here? Mostert?
Yeah. No, Mostert never plays.
Yeah. Let's go Bourne. He won't make it back to us. Now, what we could do, Truth, is if he falls to us, is we did put up a couple teams here. A couple players on the Pats. We got Myers, we got Bourne, and we got Hunter Henry. We do need a back. We don't need a backup, but Matt Jones, if he falls to us, kind of just makes sense with his team on like the rare week where like the Patriots put up 50 against the Jags, or like They put up 50 against the Jets. There might be a 1-2 week, and certainly during the bye week too. Like we'll need somebody to fill in for Allen. What are your thoughts on maybe getting Mac Jones if he falls all the way to 201?
I think we could probably chase upside better somewhere else.
Okay. I'm fine with that too.
I mean, he's Mac Jones does not. What were his highest fantasy games last year?
He had a few 20 to 25 pointers. He did.
Maybe I'm not
looking at bye weeks.
Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit, but he seems like a pretty unsexy pick.
He's not going to play more than 3 games above Josh Allen. So yeah, that could be the case. I'm just saying with our team build, getting a stack where you have Henry, Jacoby Myers, and Kendrick Bourne, like we keep talking about unsexy here. That's an unsexy stack.
That's a very unsexy.
There'll probably be a week though where they put up 30, 35 real life points, and those guys, best ball is just all about the accumulation. I guess we don't need Mac Jones though to be benefiting from those stacks. Like, would he help? Yeah, but he still might not outscore Josh.
I just
Allen.
think you can find someone that's got more upside.
Yeah, so I get that too, and we might need the help at other positions far more than we're going to need it at quarterback ever. So we might just eat the bye on week 7 with Josh Allen, right, and just accept it and kind of hope that we get some good players.
We maybe pick someone up on waivers. I mean, I don't know. There's probably a decent option on waivers, but at that point, I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of good.
So that's the thing with best ball. There is no waivers.
Oh, at all?
At all? No, there's no management after this. You draft and that's it.
Yeah, maybe we should take Mac.
Oh, I thought you knew that. So that's what changes things up quite a bit. I wouldn't even be thinking about another quarterback otherwise.
Okay.
And just one of those things you have like a guy.
Well, I was a little surprised. All right.
What if Josh misses a week or something?
Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Let's go.
You don't want the team to completely tank. But also if he misses significant time, we're probably not going anywhere anyways. It's like the whole counter to that.
I love that you draft and then just that's it.
Yeah,
that's great.
I do like Davis Mills like as a last round guy too. But we were talking about late round guys. I like a couple of them just went. I like Donta Foreman a lot, backing up McCaffrey. We know the issues with McCaffrey these last few years, and that's an offense that like Chuba Hubbard wasn't good with it, but he still saw 18 to 25 touches a week. I think Foreman's a much better player than Chuba. So he's the guy that went. I was hoping to take.
Yep.
I really don't hate Mostert this late because. Yeah, he's hurt a lot. Maybe he goes down week 1 like last year and it's just a complete burnt spot. That would blow. But he has a history in the scheme. It comes over with Mike McDaniels. He does have the games where he just rips off 70-yard touchdown runs.
All right, we're up.
What do you think, Mac Jones or Raheem Mostert?
Let's get Jones.
You want to just stack our guy up? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We don't want to end up taking zeros if somebody gets hurt.
No. We already have 9 receivers. That makes sense because we have 4 running backs I feel great about, but it probably makes sense to wrap this up with a running back. I did want to shout out, though, one of my favorite last round picks, Vilas Jones, a rookie for the Bears. And people watching this are probably chuckling. Oh, Vilas. Remember, we talked, he's like 25 as a rookie. In dynasty leagues, he's laughable. Like, it's like, come on, how can you be this old? But they're already talking about using him in the backfield at practice. He's learning 3 different positions because they want his speed on the field. Like, he's a high touch, like potential blow up guy. So he reminds me of Cordarrelle. Like, if you took Cordarrelle in the last round of every draft last year, you would have been stoked. So yeah, we have the option. I'd say we either go Mostert and some of his blow up upside if you want to run him back, or if you're just like Henry, Chubb, Zeke, Singletary, I'm good. Like, I'm down to go my guy Vilas here and just have 10 receivers and feel pretty good about getting 3 good ones every week.
Yeah.
True. I threw a lot at you.
Let's take a receiver.
Take the receiver? Okay. Yeah. Vilas Jones or Cobb?
Let's go Vilas Jones. Cobb's
let's get the sexy. We need some sex appeal on this team. Because I can just see now us clipping that, at the end of the season, talk about Vilas Jones in June, being like he's going to win leagues in best ball. He's going to be the Cordarrelle Patterson. Is he going to? Probably not, but could he? Like, he has the role that he could be, and he goes undrafted. So, yeah, all in on that last round pick. I'm a really big fan. Like this Boston Scott one. I know that seems unsexy, but he had like more 20-point games than Miles Sanders by a lot last year. He scored 5 touchdowns. Sanders had none. So, like, I like the Boston Scotts, especially if this guy had, what's his name? He does not have Jalen Hurts, but you can stack those guys up. So, yeah, I mean, those are some of my favorite later round guys. we missed out on Daryl Williams. It sounded like you liked him a lot, Truth, right?
Well, I was talking historically. I like him a lot. He did a lot for me on the Chiefs. I picked him up dirt cheap. And then, he had some freaking huge games. So I'm a fan of his in general. I like the fit as far as like a season with a pretty decent offense behind James Conner. I do like that.
Right? Doesn't that seem just like a winning formula?
It seems like a chance he could get a chance to be the guy at some point. And
I would guarantee at some point, yes. It's just a matter of how many games is it? Is it 1 to 2? Because either way, those are going to be 20-point games. But what if Connor gets hurt in like week 2? And then you got the starting running back for one of the best offenses.
Yeah,
an offense that has consistently used their backs as workhorses, whether it was Kenyon Drake for a while, whether it was Chase Edmonds when Drake went down. Every single time, whoever the starter is gets fed tons of work and a great offense. Like Daryl Williams, when he got fed good work and a good offense last year, you had him. Like you said, he did quality work for you all year. I'm kind of bummed out we missed out on Daryl Williams.
We missed him by like 1 pick, right?
Yep, he went the pick before us. In hindsight, we probably could have gone him instead of Donovan Peoples-Jones. And DPJ probably would have been there where we got Odell. Odell may have even thought, you can always play this game after, but I guess that's the useful part of looking at it. We can pull up the draft board here. It's probably a better view for everybody. That's our first draft in a while, Truth. First draft since the actual draft. What's your thoughts?
Oh, it was fun. And it was nice smoking a little before to take the edge off.
Right.
Did you find that more relaxing? I guess you're probably what percentage of your best ball drafts have you been high during?
Pretty well trained in this art, I'll tell you that. I'd say the majority of them happen when I have definitely consumed and I'm sitting at the beach.
Nice.
That is like the perfect setup. Just
sounds like a pretty good
best.
Sounds like a good life you're living. Wes says best post cast munchy snack of kings, cinnamon toast crunch.
Ooh, that's a good one right there. Cinnamon
so
CTC. The good thing with that too is like with cereal, you get the milk after, so you get like a little refreshment.
The cereal milk is where it's at, man.
Yeah, I got an ew from the kitchen. Clearly, she has no idea how good cereal milk is.
Cereal's gross.
No, but cereal milk.
That's a terrible
awesome.
Take.
that's a super hot take. Cereal's gross. That's
coming in from yoga, telling me cereal sucks. I need to take a walk.
Wow.
Oh man. But yeah, Daryl Williams. Let's go on back to that. Like good stuff. Let's get our comments here. We got a bunch. I love to see it. If you guys got questions, comments, anything about the,
I've been throwing the ones that were questions and comments.
Well, let's go back to the cereal thing real quick because I think that's probably one of the best questions we've gotten.
It's not even a question. That's a statement.
What is your favorite like high snack? Let's go cereal and then just general snack.
Cereal. I mean, not to just overly agree with Wes here, but cinnamon toast crunch, or if I'm in the right frame of mind, also Golden Grams are excellent. Same thing, excellent milk coming after the cereal.
I feel like my mouth gets cut every time I eat Golden.
No, well, I'll tell you what cuts your mouth. Do you remember Captain Crunch?
Yes. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, Crunch Berries, which is a great eye one.
Yeah, they taste excellent, but like the roof of your mouth just gets destroyed. No, Golden Grams
you really got to know you're going to be spitting out some blood when you brush
right,
later.
Right. Golden Grams are just like the same shape as Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They're not going to like cut your mouth up. They're like the same.
I think I'm probably thinking of Crunch Berries because that's what I used to always
Captain Crunch. Any Captain Crunch cereal. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And berries in particular, there's like little landmines in there. Like it's already cutting you up.
It's like eating Jacks. It's like eating Jacks, right?
Oh man, Jacks. I'm trying to like that. Crunch Berries was one of my choices, but now when I've realized the damage it's done to me over the years, I probably should find an alternative.
Omar agrees with me. Omar says Golden Grams are 1.01 and Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a close.
We got to do a cereal draft. Maybe it's tough to do it right now on the spot, but like cereals, specifically high cereal.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to think about it a little bit.
Yeah, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a great one. I didn't want to just like ride the coattails of a great comment already, though. I got to go with like fruity or Cocoa Pebbles. I love the Pebbles texture. I love the milk either one produces. Depends if I'm in a chocolate or like a fruity mood. Shocker there. Cocoa Pebbles versus fruity. It's what mood would I be in? But I love the Pebbles. Like I go Pebbles all day.
And so what I was thinking was this. My wife and I were talking about cereal the other day, and we were talking about See, I'm older than you, but you might still be old enough to remember some of the. Do you remember some of the like old person cereals they used to have? Because there used to be. Are you younger than the type of people that like watched commercials, like watch Saturday morning cartoons? And
I
like
would usually turn them off, but I know the infomercials and stuff. Yeah, like.
I mean, I'm talking like commercials, like you're watching cartoons on Saturday, and like there's all these breakfast cereal commercials on between them. Are you too young for that?
No. I remember that. In fact, I don't mean to steal your thunder, but you just made me think of one quick thing. I saw a commercial the other day. I remembered as a kid, it scarred me, and I just saw a replay.
Do tell.
It was a commercial about milk, and it was like the kid was like, his mom's like, drink your milk, and he looks across the way. And he's like, well, Jimmy, our neighbor, never does. There's this old man, and he goes to like pick a bowl up, and his arms just fall out of his body, and the old man starts going, ah, and then the kid goes, ah, and he starts chugging his glass of milk. And I was
like, is that real? Is that like brought to you by milk?
Brought to you by milk. Got milk. It said got milk. Maybe it was a fake spoof commercial.
Are you sure you really saw that?
Like as soon as I saw the replay and like the caption was like commercials were way different back then. Maybe it was a fake, but I swear I remember being a kid and seeing that and be like, whoa, that's pretty fucking demented.
Mitch says Cookie Crisp.
Yeah, that's a good toss out. Cookie Crisp is a great one.
That's like such a like I'm gonna just whip it out on the table how American I am. Like we just have cereals that are just a bowl of cookies.
Yeah, right.
They're not even trying. Let's just make like small cookies and throw them in milk. That's such an American cereal.
Yeah, you were asking about commercials though. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Am I old enough to watch commercials? Yes, I've been scarred by them. So
that's great.
Going with that?
You got a favorite commercial? I'll tell you, I loved commercials when do you remember when Caller ID first came out?
With what?
Like Caller ID, because it used to be when I was a kid, like the phone rang, you didn't know who the hell it was. But then I remember when I was basically in college, maybe, or late high school, Caller ID came out, which is like the thing where your phone rings and you can see the number, which is something obviously we 1,000,000% take for granted now. Like I would never just answer a random phone that was ringing, but that was my whole life.
Right.
That maybe it's a girl, who knows? Anyway, I remember when commercials for Caller ID came out, and it was like this woman would answer her phone late at night, and then this just on the other end is just heavy breathing. It's like, and she's like, who is this? Stop calling here and stuff. And he's like talking in like a really scary voice, like, do you know who this is? Like, are you alone? And then she like really like authoritatively and defiantly pushes a button and his phone number pops up. And she's like, 555-213-6767. How's that? And he's just terrified and he just hangs up. And like, you got to think that was probably the end of his just like calling women and being a creep. Thing that he was doing every night. That's all. That's a commercial that I really appreciated. That probably scarred me a little bit too.
Yeah, right. Creepy. Breathing heavy. That reminds me of that Always Sunny episode when he's like building dependency or whatever, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you" to the phone. The Bennett system one, just a classic.
Great.
That was a classic.
Oh man. Yeah. Wes also says that Oreos with ice cold milk was elite post-consumption. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the GOAT. Says fast food, the Mexican pizza from Taco Bell with a frozen Baja
just returned,
Blast.
Right? If I'm not mistaken. Baja Blast, easily a 101 of high drinks, specifically fast food drinks, like a gold mine. Baja Blast. Just
man.
Crazy. Good to see the bus. Champ is here. Brought the big title this year. Gotten baked with him at a bachelor party, so he probably just knew it was in the air, right? I know my man Bus. I hope you're still there. But Wentz goes, I forgot he's a Washington football delusional fan. Wentz goes huge this year. Weak ass schedule. Truth, what we got to figure out is how do we get like them to join the stream? I think I just have to post a code and people can like type it in and it will like how you pop up as a guest. Yeah. We should do that and like have like if Wes here wants to talk about high snacks. You can pop on, like, and just like ask a question about high snacks or something. That'd be fun as hell.
I have no problem with that. Right now, everything seems like a pretty good idea. What's your favorite, like, savory?
The key is maybe we have to listen back to this because as everything has come before, we've had a lot of good ideas.
I'll bet
who knows how many of them actually stick.
I'll bet it's a pretty good listen. What's your favorite savory high snack? Like salty?
I mean, does it have to be like a cold snack, like beef jerky, or can it be like a fast food item? Like,
no, whatever. That's beef jerky is very good, but like,
beef jerky is awesome. Like that's become. There's so many good, unique flavors of it too, and I love
it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite like type?
I I usually get whatever's at BJ's that I can buy in like a really big bag of it.
Don't they have the one that has like the Indian on it?
I don't remember.
Native American man?
Native American.
I know.
You mean like anyway.
American Indian, yes.
Yes, coming in off the top ropes hills again.
Giving us the right term.
I just did a whole unit on this. I'm well versed.
Thank you.
In my terminology.
I know. We appreciate it.
She needs to get a screen on here, man. She needs to get a screen.
Berry Berry Kicks was the best cereal, but you have to have it dry.
No, never dry. Dry cereal, psychos. No way. Oh, man.
Berry Berry Kicks.
No way. But a good one from Mitch here, Reese's Puff. We should do a cereal draft.
We should just do a show where we just get high and just eat cereal the whole time.
Just eat cereal and draft. I'm into it.
No, we don't need to even draft.
Just eat cereal.
Right.
Live.
You need to be like, oh, this is good. This is cutting up the roof of my mouth.
Mitch Chavez would probably still be there with us.
This would be better dry.
Yeah, no way. No cereal is better dry.
Ew.
No way. I do want to bring up Russell Gage. I think this was a good comment from Gary. I like the upside for however long Godwin's out. And Godwin, what if it lingers? Maybe he's the number 2 all year. That's the ceiling case. Do see that with Gage. The guys that he goes, like, who did we take above Gage?
We took it was a receiver. No, yeah. Who was it? It was someone that maybe we shouldn't have taken before Gage.
No, it was a receiver.
Was it Thielen? Was it Adam Thielen?
Yes, it was Thielen, and I like that. I like the Thielen pick. Yeah. So it's just the opportunity cost. I think there's just that's what I was getting at. I got lost my thought trying to find it. That's what I was getting at there for sure.
Omar F says Blue Diamond barbecue flavored almonds are my go-to high serving size, the whole can. Yeah, that's excellent. That's a good.
Yeah, those are good. I was gonna say another one of my favorite savory is like pistachios, or I've had like a sweet chili pistachio before. That's money. That's good stuff. Any type of flavored nuts, like the almond, like he was saying, a Chipotle one, like good stuff. I
can just eat so many of those.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm not a big self-control guy when it comes to stuff like that.
No, because you break it out when you're high, and when you're high, there's no control.
I don't have much self-control when I'm not high, but when I am, good Lord, man.
Right, exactly. That's very, very minimal to start, but certainly whatever was that little shred is snipped. But as soon as that, absolutely. Do we miss any other questions? I mean,
we got them. We got great engagement both on smoking weed and on football, which is a great combination.
Exactly who would have thought in baked best ball? That's what we bring out, some kind of conversation and some football chat. That's exactly what we wanted. I'm very pleased with how this went. I would make this a regular weekly occurrence.
Sure. I mean, it's literally like the fun. What else am I going to be doing more fun than this at 7:00 on a Thursday?
I don't think there's much better. Yeah, right.
Omar says that he heard an interview with Thielen, and he said he's excited about the new offense. He feels reinvigorated as a player on the McAfee show. Just a little tidbit. I love that, Omar. And I think Omar, you just kind of jumped in recently. I was getting at that, and maybe it slipped the mind as we were talking, but I love Kevin O'Connell. I think, coming from the McVay system, it's obviously not always we've seen proteges work and proteges not work, but he's been there for a while. He's the quarterback's coach for a while too. So he's like had just a very important role in some of the biggest offenses of the last 5 years. I really like what he's going to bring to the table. And I was even going to say something like Cooper Kupp. Now Thielen's not that, especially when you have Jefferson. Like he's going to be playing that move around everywhere. In particular, like Jefferson played a ton of slot in college, so like he can go man that role. And that's why I've been taking Jefferson like top 6, maybe even top 4 on DraftKings best ball. I've gone him at 3. So wow.
Because if I don't feel like taking McCaffrey, like if it's Kupp, it's Taylor, and then I think Jefferson's right there. Like just because I think he could be the Cooper Kupp of this O'Connell system. I love Kirk Cousins as a player because of it. And I think Thielen has an underrated ceiling. Like he'll play a lot of slot too. And the fact that he's already saying I'm reinvigorated by it, love that. Because that offense, I think, has been kind of hamstrung the last few years. Wouldn't you agree? Like under Zimmer, a defensive guy, like it just kind of, they have so much talent. Dalvin Cook, think about him, Truth.
Yeah, you're right. And so like you're making a lot of persuasive arguments. I agree with you about Zimmer maybe hampering the offense a little bit. I don't like Kirk Cousins anywhere near as much as you do. I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer in Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying he's not going to maybe put up some numbers. I don't think he's a very good quarterback. I know fantasy's about the numbers. I'm scared investing too much in Kirk Cousins being awesome.
But you just said it. The guy can rack up stats. He's always racked up stats. Even with like Jay Gruden in Washington, he's putting up 5K freaking yards. Like he just eats stats. And I never said anything about him being a really good quarterback. He's good enough to eat stats. I don't think he's good enough to go lead a Super Bowl run by any means, but I think he's good enough to put up 4,800 passing yards and 35 passing TDs. And that's maybe. Also pretty concentrated. That's the thing. It's like it could be a huge pie and it could only be Jefferson, Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Irv Smith, which I like all of those guys. And KJ Osborne now too. I know we're rambling about them, but the Vikings the take I've kind of wanted to have. I'm in on that offense. I'm in on Cousins because of it, but
I'm hesitant about it because of Cousins. But I hear what you're saying.
And talking more about just one more comment about the Vikings too is Dalvin Cook's been one of my. If it's not Eckler and Henry, and even when we went Henry, I was going to suggest that we kind of ran out of time. What about Dalvin Cook? I might even have him above Henry in the sense that they're already talking about splitting out wide more. Every time he's been used as a receiver, you can think of all the highlights where he's good. Knifed through a defense 50 yards on a screen. Like he's just so underutilized in that game. But what's the whole McVay system? Remember Todd Gurley going bananas that first year, marrying the run and the pass. It's more run heavy than you recognize because it sets up the play action. It sets up the screen game. No, like Dalvin Cook in the Todd Gurley style offense, he could easily lead the league in fantasy points if you got the full season. Now, he's probably not going to get the full season. We know that, but you could do Dalvin Cook and Madison and just have the monster backup. I've been taking a lot of Dalvin Cook, and I think he is the best later first round pick that you can make. I know that's a rant, but what are your thoughts on Dalvin? Because it's an important guy to really.
I like Dalvin a lot. I think I would probably lean a little more towards Henry, but I don't feel like it's clear cut. You could be right. The receiving upside, we'll see.
I know. I mean, I have Henry higher in my rankings, but the more I'm just thinking out loud. This is kind of a fresh thought. Just the Dalvin Cook, Todd Gurley offense. I don't know that system, the McVay system, has been very, very kind to talented running backs, and Dalvin Cook, I think, is behind maybe Nick Chubb.
Makes me think maybe somebody like Alex Madison's a nice later round stab in best ball.
Absolutely, I've been snagging him. Either a lot of teams don't handcuff. Everybody preaches that's bad practice, and maybe it is. But in a backfield like that, I'm just going to lock up the Vikings this year. Whoever it is, or even if I don't get Dalvin Cook, Dalvin Cook has a little bit of legal trouble, so we do have to recognize that downside. What if he does?
Just a little bit, though.
Maybe. Well, nothing's really come of it lately, and you saw Judy's going to get erased, so I'm thinking it goes away, but you never know. He could get slapped with a suspension out of nowhere, so there is some downside in that sense. But that's, again, we're talking about Madison. That is the bull case for him. He's a guy that could just leap rounds and bounds if you have 4 games locked in to start the year of Alexander Madison. I don't have the stats up in front of me, but as a starter, I mean, it was 22, 19, 25. It was just locked in. It was almost as good as Dalvin Cook. But Dalvin Cook, the one game that stands out, I know, I'm ranting, I know it. But with Dalvin Cook, think about that Steelers game. Remember, it was a Thursday night. We had the craziest show we've ever had. And everybody was asking, do we play Dalvin Cook or not? He's cut the harness. It was harness Dalvin Cook. You remember that episode?
Yeah.
It was nuts. And we said play him. And he just went bananas. And
he did go bananas.
Remember that game? And
I don't remember what his stats were exactly, but I remember he went bananas. And I just we definitely called that, because it's when we nail something like that, I need that, because remember how adamant we were about playing Keenan Allen that time? Exactly,
right?
I feel like such a dick when we do something like that.
I know. And it's tough. It's really tough to always play your studs. But that was one where it definitely panned out. And that game that's how I don't know why Dalvin's not always used like that. He was getting out in space as a receiver. He was splitting out wide. And that's what I see him doing in this offense completely. And, I think we're going to get a lot of 30-point-plus days from Dalvin Cook. As long as he's healthy, I think people are going to look back and be like, I can't believe this guy was going pick 10. He was going locked in number 2 last year, and he's only going to be in a better offense this year, in a better role. I think Dalvin Cook, this is a take I didn't know I really had, but It's a take I need.
Sometimes
now.
you just find out a lot about yourself in these situations.
When the sour diesel starts to really fuel your mind and you're just shooting the shit, sometimes your best ideas just pop up. Dalvin Cook, I'm going all in. Like he should be top 5 pick. The more I think about it.
All right, so should we wrap here?
We got a good question. I mean, you want to pop off? You're welcome to. I know.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not pushing to pop off yet.
Okay, so let's see what we got here. Real talk. Who's getting breakfast? Yes, I mean the breakfast narrative is one of my favorite narratives. I've heard rumors of Michael Pittman being a breakfast narrative guy with Matt Ryan. In fact,
what do you think Matt Ryan is serving for breakfast, like at his house?
Like
kind of a breakfast guy as Mike.
Just boring and probably dry Wheaties.
With
honestly.
With
He's
like
dry Wheaties.
skim milk.
No, dry. Dry Wheaties. Daddy, can we have the frosted ones this week? No. Honey bunches of oats? No.
Wheaties.
Dry Wheaties.
Or plain Cheerios.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, plain Cheerios.
Shredded wheat.
Honey nut if they've been good. Like
Did you ever see the original shredded wheat? Like cereal?
Non-frosted kind.
No, well, you remember Frosted Mini Wheats, right?
Of course, those are good. I like.
Yeah, well, Frosted Mini Wheats got progressively smaller over the course of my life because when Frosted Mini Wheats first came out, each one was like that big. It was like a rectangle.
Pillows.
Like a rectangle, and it was that big, but it was frosted, so it was good.
And
I mean, that's a pretty big cereal, and so I was like, what are they calling it Mini Wheats for? And then I saw what an actual shredded wheat looks like. It's like a football. It's just like one big
you have to
like
cut
a brick.
It with a knife.
It's like, oh, that's why these are called mini wheats. They're like a quarter of the size of these guys.
The steak knife. Just like...
You think that's what? And you think Matt Ryan eats that? With no milk,
right?
Like with a knife and fork.
Yeah, but there was a good quote from Michael Pittman the other day where he said like he missed some context. He just said Matt can put it wherever he wants to. Just that, obviously ball placement and like put the ball, but that's how he said it. Matt can put it wherever he wants to. And he even retweeted it himself and said like, poor choice of words here with like a laughing emoji. So like he got it and was chuckling. So it just, I like the vibes those guys have right now. I think Pittman I have him a little bit lower in my rankings, but the more you think about the Breakfast Club and the vibes, and what about a Matt Ryan? You hate on him. I know it. We talk about unsexy. Like the Thielen of quarterbacks to me is kind of Matt Ryan in the sense that like he's been quarterback 12, quarterback 14, quarterback 16, and it's always unsexy. But
I like Thielen. I like Thielen more than Matt Ryan.
Oh, of course I do. Yeah, I'm not saying I've drafted him the same, but I'm saying like that's the similar kind of player. Thielen a bit more, like I'm probably a tier above that, but it's the same idea. Like Matt Ryan, I like the coach. The weapons are good. They seem to be clicking. Matt Ryan can put this ball placement anywhere. Is exactly what he meant, but the quote was like he can put it anywhere. I know what he meant, Dave. That's what we're.
Matt Ryan can place his balls anywhere.
Yes, he can put his ball play. Oh, yeah, exactly. Is that what it was? I might be misquoting it, but it was great. Either way, this is a good question. You guys out on Barkley?
Yes.
You're always out on Barkley, right?
No, I'm out on any New York Giant.
See, okay, yes, probably. But for me, the answer to that is why it's just Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones sucks.
I don't.
We're gonna go nowhere as long as Daniel Jones is the under center. That being said, Tyrod Taylor, our boy, very loosely our boy, but like competent backup quarterback that like puts up 16 to 18 fantasy points. Not that we really want to be even speculating on him. If he takes over, I think he can manufacture like a plausible offense. He's made Sammy Watkins a solid receiver one when he was with the Bills. He's made, I'm trying to think, what are some Tyrod, like when he was with the
it's been a while.
Like it's been a bit, yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like he was overly impressive the last.
He was okay with the Chargers. I mean, the reason it was so like asinine he was playing with the Chargers was because of how good Justin Herbert was. Like once he took over, like it was clear, like it was absolutely clear he was the man. And Tyrod Taylor shouldn't have even touched the field. But the offense wasn't like abysmal. Like Eckler was having fine enough games. Like,
I'm not a Tyrod Taylor hater at all. It's just, I'm trying to temper my expectations a little bit because I have not I don't recall being super impressed with him the last couple of times I've seen him. And the reason I say that is because I do pull for him. He's a Virginia Tech guy. Like I'm
that's right.
I'm a Tyrod Taylor fan. But I'd have to see the number sheet as far as when the last time he was having like a good fantasy game.
And he hasn't started. And I'm not even speculating on his fantasy value. It's more so to say, like, I have more faith in the Giants' weapons being more viable with him under center. Like the Saquon take.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm kind of out until it's not Daniel Jones. Maybe there is the boom case for Daniel Jones. Brian Dable blew up Josh Allen, and that's, now he's leading. That's the one thing I do like about the Giants is Brian Dable's there. And he's already talked about using Saquon, peppering him with targets, all the good hype pieces that you love this time of year. But as Omar points out, the O-line that has gotten better. They put a couple first-round injections right into it. They do have intriguing, like, explosive guys on the outside now in Wandale. And, Tony, I think we've seen a 180-yard game out of Tony. So I think with a better play caller, better line, better, all-around weapons and usage of them, Barkley does have a boom case. I'm just worried about his injury history, and I'm worried about Daniel Jones sucking. So, like, where he goes around Nick Chubb. I'd take Chubb 10 out of 10 times, and I wouldn't, even in PPR, I would take Chubb, despite the high receiving upside that Barkley has. Barkley's ceiling is probably a lot higher, but I wouldn't even say that much higher. I think the floor is a lot higher with Chubb, similar ceilings. Barkley's, like, best case is probably the better play. But, yeah, I don't know. What you said immediately, yes, I'm out. And that's just straight Daniel Jones and Giants suck.
They're just one of those teams where I automatically think everyone on their team is going to suck. I think I have very good reason to feel that way. I've been paying attention to football for many years, and it's been a while since anyone on the Giants has wowed us, maybe since Barkley's rookie year for a little while. I'm not going to believe it. They're one of those teams. It's like the Jets. I talked about the Jets, and it's like they're going to have to prove to me that they're not terrible before I believe that they're not terrible. And you can say, like, oh, they're going to be down a lot. They're going to be throwing a lot. Well, they might suck so bad where it doesn't matter. Like they might. I'm not convinced that they're going to be anything I want to be a part of until they prove me wrong. And I've been proven wrong tons of times, but I'm not touching the Giants. I'm sure there's some magical number that someone like Barkley could fall to where I would take a chance, but not where he's going right now. Definitely not.
That's what's happened with me in some of these drafts. He falls to 30, and I'm like, okay. Like, there's not Keenan Allen is gone. There's not a receiver I'm truly in love with. Deontay's my top guy, and he might make it back round 4 anyways. Like, there's been some positions I've just taken the stab on Barkley because the ceiling is significantly higher with this new offensive coordinator. The one counter, not even counter, but the one thought on the sense of, like, believe it, you won't believe it until you see it. I get that. It's safer. But you also get the value. Like, let's say you don't buy the Jets, but Zach Wilson takes a huge step this year. Breece Hall will probably be a top 6 running back there. Elijah Moore will probably be a top 8 receiver. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. You have to, bet your chips all in on something.
Sure.
I'm not going all in on that, but I will certainly, as you do more of these little drafts, like I'll sprinkle in. I like Breece Hall certainly just because the 3-touch upside can probably catch 80 balls.
It's not like I don't see your logic, and it's not like you might not be right. It's one of those things with me personally. I am so convinced that those teams are going to be terrible.
Yeah.
For me to pick one of those guys or take a stab on one of those guys, look, if they fall far enough and it's a shit pick, who cares? Maybe I will. But like for me to take a real stab at somebody that I'm spending a real pick on, where like every voice in my head is screaming like, what are you, a fucking idiot? Even thinking about taking this guy? I'm not taking him.
Yeah.
And right now there's so much stink on those guys just based on look, I've seen it. I'm not like, I think they'll be bad this year. It's like, that's the least hot take in the world. They're terrible every year.
Right.
Like, yeah. I just you're right. I might miss out on a couple. If Saquon runs for 2,000 yards this year, I'll be like, damn, I was wrong. But
yeah.
I'll bet he doesn't.
I agree. I'd say, yeah, exactly. Like it's very rare that actually does happen where a team just overnight in 1 year, you usually at least see signs of progress. And we haven't seen that. Daniel Jones, I don't think has shown a single.
I feel the same way about Jacksonville, by the way.
You will, yes. We didn't really see much promise about him. That's a good team to lump into this. Like, could any of those 3 teams explode? New coordinators, better lines, better talent. Like, all of them have the case to do it. Maybe one does, and if you get it right, you get some huge bargains.
Okay, which of those 3 teams do you think is the most likely to blow up?
So, out of the Jags, the Giants, and who's the third?
The Jets. And if you want, you could throw the Texans in there too.
I kind of like Davis Mills, to be honest.
Maybe the Seahawks. Throw the Seahawks in.
Seahawks, no.
And throw the Lions Then two. Like those 6 teams, which is the most likely to blow up?
I do like
or
the
actually
Lions.
the Bears. Fuck the Lions. The Bears.
I do like the Lions, actually.
Yeah, no, the Lions aren't in this one.
But no, I want to trim a little of that. We could, lump them all in for the sake of it. But I like the narrative of those other 3 teams of the Jets.
Okay.
I guess the Jets don't have a new coordinator, so they don't necessarily fit. I was thinking like the Dayball effect. I only think of like the one time it has happened is like McVay turning the Rams from the worst team in the league to the best. Is there enough talent there to have that type? Is Brian Daboll that smart? Probably not. But if and when that ever happens again, and I always like to try to say the next McVay and try to predict what offense is going to be. And over the years, I've realized it doesn't really happen. Like it once in a blue moon, it was going to be Kingsbury, and that offense just didn't go that great. It was going to be, the Panthers guy, who's not even in the league anymore, Joe Brady, right? You always trying to pick up the next wonder kid. That doesn't really happen very often. Could Daboll be that? I mean, the Bills have been a juggernaut these last couple of years, but I don't think it's Daniel Jones who leads that charge.
It's hard, you're right. It doesn't happen much. And I think making a living or trying to make a living off predicting this thing that just doesn't even happen very much in the first place, I think is a low percentage play overall. Yeah. I think it's very hard to predict. And like you said, it doesn't even happen that often.
Right.
So I think calling that guy out is a little bit tough. They say Ryan is connecting with Paris Campbell, maybe over a pillow of shredded wheat.
Right, yeah, feeding him breakfast. Just picturing Matt Ryan, hello,
sticking
Paris.
his balls literally anywhere he wants to.
Yeah, putting it right where he wants to. While he feeds him shredded wheat.
It's in his bowls.
Bite down on the shredded wheat.
Of shredded wheat.
Yeah, it'll all be over soon. Jesus.
Anybody who's stuck around for the last hour and 21, you just got a treat there.
Yeah, really.
Good luck not thinking about that tonight.
Hello, nightmares. Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we've heard it all before, Paris Campbell. That's one.
That's another one where it's like, you got to prove it to me. You got to prove it to me.
That's one 100%. Believe it when I see it. Yeah, but you missed the breakout. The argument, the counter I was trying to just play devil's advocate with. That's a player I will 100% be wrong about and let someone else be right. Than to get my ass burned again. I never really did get my ass burned. I've never been on that train. And
you're just look. This is the exact same take that I just had about the Jets and the Giants and the Jaguars. It's I'm not going to get burned on that.
No, I know.
That's why and when you say this about Paris Campbell, it's the same logic. You're like, you've never been on that train, but you've been watching him play, and he's not good. Yeah, he's gonna have to prove it to you.
Who do you think of those offenses again? The Giants, the Jets, and the Jaguars, the Jays, the shitty Jays.
Except the Giants because they start with a G. But yeah,
the J sound.
Okay, the Jizz. The Jizz.
Yes, of the Jizz teams.
Right there you go.
Jets, Giants, Jaguars. Which offense do you see turning it around the most?
All right, and I'm gonna qualify this with the fact that I doubt that any of them will turn it around. I would say I'd put the Giants probably last. I guess probably the Jaguars. But again, I hate saying it out loud because I don't think they're gonna be good.
Yeah. I have the least faith in the Jets. I think Zach Wilson sucks.
Oh, sure.
I'm not shocked. I would not be shocked if Trevor Lawrence isn't that good. But I don't think
he's that great.
Of all the quarterbacks that deserves a grace pass, I mean, the Urban Meyer fiasco,
wow.
We can't count that as anything. And it's too bad. He should have had a year of development and should be on the right trajectory. Who knows if anybody recovers from whatever the hell that team was. I hope he does. I think Doug Peterson,
I'm pulling for
special, has done decent enough on offense. I like Evan Ingram as catching a good decent amount of balls. The number 1 paid receiver in the league, just about Christian Kirk. They've got some. It just makes me laugh every time I think about Christian Kirk being as paid high as he is.
He's that guy's going around just walking around with this gigantic fur coat.
Yeah.
He is living his best life.
Is he a fur coat guy? I wonder. Do you think Christian Kirk's a fur coat guy?
I think he, at least after this contract, he became a fur coat guy.
I could see a nice piece of jewelry.
Oh, sure. He's not going to stop at the fur coat.
Okay.
He's going to have other shit.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I might become a fur coat guy if I signed a deal like that.
We're going to see like the report tomorrow, like Christian Kirk donates over $100 million to local charities and like helps upstart school. And
then we're going to see like from like, no, this is the type of thing that gets splashed all over the place. It's be like of like the, 20 people that have watched this live stream. Somehow it's going to end up on Twitter. Like, the truth calls Christian Kirk out for being a fur coat guy. next thing you know, like we're in major beef with him.
Right, yeah. Christian Kirk hates the Roto Street Journal.
Christian Kirk's like driving by your house with his interior light of his car on real slow.
So true. Yeah, exactly. You just like worried his face is going to be there. Like,
yeah. No, I don't know. I could see him being like a really cool leather jacket guy.
Do you ever get, this is a random question, but do you ever get like haunted by the Yahoo picture faces of people? Like, example, Christian Kirk. Let's say I needed 6 points from him and he just throws up a complete goose egg and you know exactly what his picture looks like. Like Christian Kirk has like the buck teeth and he kind of
I know exactly the pictures you're talking about. Yes.
Like the night that happens, let's say it's Monday Night Football and I should have won and I don't because of that one face. Like, there's been times you look at it, it's like a dash. Like there's not even a stat next to his name and you're just like, really?
Right.
Nothing. You didn't even get a target. Like nice.
And he's just kind of had this smug look of satisfaction on his face, like looking back at you. And you wish you, like, if you're in the room with him, you would just like tackle him.
Right. And then get your ass kicked. But that's the tough part too. Is like you want to just like spit on it, but then you're like, well, he would destroy me. And like,
there's very few NFL players that I feel too confident about engaging in like a fight.
No, there's very few. Not even the kickers. We get our asses beat by most. But
yeah, can you imagine if one of those guys like just hauled off and kicked you?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like where, that could be the most devastating of them all, to be honest.
Right. And like most of the trainers are like former players, so they could all whip your ass too.
Yeah. I mean, I'd take my chances against Justin Tucker instead of like Aaron Donald, though. You're saying like kickers are the most dangerous. Come on.
No, I'm absolutely not saying they're the most dangerous. I'm saying they're not without their weapons.
Yeah,
okay. They're not useless. At least they can kick hard. Like, there's plenty of people you could fight that like would be no threat at all. But with that guy, like if you're fighting a kicker, you're like, all right, I got to avoid like getting kicked. You probably can't punch very well.
And that's all that we have for Matt Ryan connecting with Paris Campbell. How did we get there from that comment still off of us? Kickers destroying you and having weapons.
Just to be clear, that's still the position of player I'd go after if it was like a free-for-all all of a sudden. If somehow I found myself in a situation where me and every player in the NFL were in like a Hunger Games type battle to the death, and I have no idea how we ever would have gotten to that place as a society. Yeah. And what bad luck for me, by the way, to be the one non-NFL player to end up in this battle royale.
Talk about sticking out. Like,
right?
Take care of this piece of garbage first.
We're going to go after the middle-aged non-athlete guy first.
It might work out for your favor, though, because it's like leave the weakest left. Like,
right, it's like Survivor. You want to take someone to the end you can beat.
Exactly. Yeah, you'd be the perfect little slime ball. And maybe you get one lucky shot in, like somehow. You sneak up behind them right as they finish off someone else.
Yeah, this is a fantastic movie idea, by the way.
Yeah, let's get scripted.
Toon says, if Watson gets suspended, do you think the Browns are going to hold on to Baker or go with Brissett? Will Baker even consider suiting up for the Browns?
No.
Toons, I don't think he will.
Baker's not playing for the Browns. I'd like to see Baker go to the Seahawks, to be honest. Like, we just talked about Geno Smith and Drew Lock. Like, why not take a stab on pretty decent and like, I don't think Baker's good. I wouldn't want him to be my QB, but if those are the other two options that I want him to be it's very rare. I would say I want him to be my QB. Those are the case. I have no idea why they didn't take Malik Willis. That offense could be so exciting with a dual threat like him, with an arm like his. And, I would have been so excited for the Seahawks had they taken him. I don't know what they were thinking. They had 3 stabs at it. I mean, obviously the first round, okay, I get it, but maybe Kenny Walker, and then he's still falling there in round 3. That's where it's like, okay, why did it makes no sense to me. But regardless, we were talking about Baker.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Baker? Like, did you want to see him anymore? I'm kind of done with it.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay with the amount of Baker. I mean there's already a lot of Baker in our lives. He's still on like commercials and stuff. It's like,
yeah, he pops up as like the.
Is he the worst? Is he the worst NFL player to have like a bunch of commercials? He is, right?
Who's the brand that has that where he's like in the stadium?
Isn't it State Farm?
I think it is. Yeah. That's shitty. Like, good job.
Yeah. Whoever was the one who decided to put that marketing campaign.
It must have been a decent check too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Lots of commercials. He had like as many as Mahomes.
And they all suck too. It's like him like sweeping the stadium and
They're
shit.
pretty stupid.
Like,
yeah. It's like, like at least show me something I could halfway believe, please.
Yeah.
He's not sweeping up the stadium.
No.
Wes said,
yeah.
No, I'm good with Baker. Wes said, all right, that got me laughing. He's probably talking about the pillow of shredded wheat and sticking your balls wherever you're allowed to go.
Yeah, Matt Ryan taking advantage of Paris Campbell.
That's gonna be the Twitter beef. I'm gonna be feuding with Christian Kirk. You're gonna be feuding with Matt Ryan or Paris Campbell or both of them.
Well, Matt Ryan, I feel like we were complimenting him the whole time. He's the one that's in control here. It's Paris Campbell that's going to be upset about.
Is Matt Ryan too old to know how Twitter works?
No, he would know. He's not that old.
I mean,
Matt Ryan's on Twitter.
I'm older than Matt Ryan, so
yeah.
But I barely.
You don't really know how Twitter works.
I mean, I do. I just I don't really engage with it because I don't want to get in all these Twitter beefs.
Yeah, I've been kind of quiet the last couple weeks because everybody is just beefing, and it's just like it can be a waste of like time and energy. And there's so many great fans I love that like still DM me and it's fun to talk with. But like I've been kind of quiet for a bit. I'll get going more in the summer, but I don't have the time right now. Like if I tweet something and somebody retweets and is like, "You're a fucking asshole," it's like, well, cool. Like, all right, nice. I don't really give a shit what you think, but like I don't really feel like getting in a Twitter war with like no egg fucking avatar JC 857-192. Like sorry, I have a different target share for David Bell. Like I don't know if that makes me a fucking asshole.
You're right. I am an asshole.
Like it's just like we've talked about writing screenplays. Like I'm doing other shit in my time. Like stuff that I think is gonna be much more worthwhile. Some of these things we've said tonight, I get, the idea of getting in a Twitter beef over some of the hypotheticals we've talked about. Like that's a good idea. I gotta include that in the script.
I know. I mean, that could be a way we blew.
Like
up
if that actually happened, like
Christian, way we blew up in the movie. Like we had like 100 followers, and then randomly, like I get in a Twitter beef with Christian Kirk, and all of a sudden we have like 50,000 followers.
You remember the first athlete we ever interacted with? It was pretty.
Antonio Brown was like he shouted you out for comparing him to Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. When we do fantasy Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you were really, really excited. I remember.
That was sweet. It was like the first fucking week of doing it. I remember like it was like one of our breaks, like April break or something, and I had written like pretty hardcore for 5 days, and it was weird shit. It was like fancy Game of Thrones stuff, but I just like, hey, this is cool to get back into writing. And then he ended up, and by the end I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm like, I'll get back to fantasy football and like, kind of get back in my groove. And then he shared it. It's like, oh, this is interesting. Like, this is kind of cool. Like to be a week old and have Antonio Brown, like, these guys think I'm Tyrion. What do you think? And it was like, that's cool.
This is also before Antonio Brown was crazy, or at least
before
we knew he was crazy. Like, it was a big deal. Like he was like the best receiver.
Like the number one player.
He was like the best receiver in the NFL then, probably.
There was a while where you would take him number one overall in fantasy drafts. That was like that Antonio Brown era when we got chaired out.
Yeah, and that was a big deal. I do remember that was a long time ago. We've been doing this for a while.
We have been. Like, I know it's a slow and steady pace, which I like, but I guess we've been moving up pretty fast too. Like,
we're doing it. It's like, it's
we're
been a long time.
Way,
I mean, I was writing,
Bachelor
25 Bachelor articles a year or a season, actually, when that happened. I missed and Survivor too.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to get back into that.
We're going to get back into it. Omar says, last question, who's one guy you won't draft regardless of where? Well, I mean, Daniel Jones.
I really don't take him, but even him, you can like think of a case where if Dable really does turn him around, like I don't see it happening. There's a case you can make. I'm trying to think of like, who would I truly,
I know what you mean.
Who am I so out on that like I will never draft? Like
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one in that sense.
I wouldn't, even if he hadn't gotten suspended for the gambling at the end. I'm never going to touch him again.
It's tough because I pull up I pull up my top 200, and it's like if they're in my top 200, I probably at least see a case for them. So it's tough for me to like look at my list and be like, that's a guy I'll never draft. But
right, I mean, there's a guy that could be going 20, and I'm like, no way in hell. But like if he's around at 40. I might take a stab,
Yeah. You know who it is for me? That's like a name that people still.
It's got to be someone you just hate.
I'm trying to think of people like names people try to keep relevant. Paris Campbell's pretty close, but even then, I like last round maybe I could ever see it. A couple guys I know I won't draft anymore is Brian Edwards. Remember him, the big strong Brian Edwards. He's with the Falcons now, and now people are like, well, there's no other receivers. His time is come and gone. Like I'm done with him. Laviska Shenault, like
Laviska Shenault. That's a great one. I will never touch him, and I was way ahead of the curve on that. I just want to.
Yeah, you've always been off of him. I mean,
you guys, the experts strangely loved him when he came out in that one year, and you were not as high on them as the experts, but you still liked him. I never got why any of you guys liked him.
I got too high on him last year. I did. I just saw a couple plays, and I still think there's some playmaking ability there. To me, I say I'll never draft Laviska. If he got traded to the Chiefs tomorrow, okay, I'll draft Laviska.
What a better question is someone that you would never draft, like in their current situation. I agree. There's almost nobody if they got traded to the right offense that wouldn't intrigue me.
Yeah, any receiver right now that goes to the Packers or the Chiefs, if anybody ends up landing there, like imagine Will Fuller lands in one of those spots. Like
he would have 3 great games.
Right, and the best ball,
and then he would be out for the rest of the year.
Very true. Who I don't really draft is like Jamal Williams. Like, there's unsexy, and then there's like unsexy without upside. Like even when Swift goes down, he really wasn't that.
Well, that's
good.
the ultimate unsexy. The ultimate unsexy is like not really Adam Thielen. The ultimate unsexy is somebody where like he's never going to do anything. Like the running backs that are going to rush 12 times for 28 yards.
I've got another couple now that I'm thinking of them like that. Exactly. You got me thinking of the type. Chuba Hubbard. Like, he's now maybe the third string. He got his chance last year. He sucked when he got it. He's not even the handcuff anymore, but he sometimes goes ahead of Foreman. That one, I'll never touch him. I'll never touch Trey Sermon again, ever.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Is he even on a team?
I don't know.
Like, I
Trey
know
Sermon. Good call with Trey Sermon, though. Yeah, right. You'll never touch him again.
I'm trying to think of like the sexy guys that I don't really believe in, because I gave you some just like pure grossness. I don't think I'm in on Noah Fant, and I know he's not that sexy, but like
he's not sexy.
He's an athlete, and now he's in a really gross offense, and that's he's a guy that I think a lot of people are making cases for that I just don't see. I don't get. I'm lower on Kenny Golladay just because of the Giants stink, similar to you. I think he's kind of a fake alpha. I'm not into him.
Definitely. I can't. It's hard for me to imagine a set of circumstances where I would end up drafting Kenny Golladay. It really like, I can't. I mean, maybe if it was like a 30 pick draft or something and he was around at pick 300.
What about Tyler Boyd? Like, does he have an okay game every now and again? I guess, but that feels pretty limited. Even with he's like, I'm trying to pick a guy on like a good offense, and usually
I'm probably not drafting Tyler Boyd, but like I would draft him way before I drafted Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, like he said, regardless of price, like there is if Tyler Boyd's in my last round, like why not?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick him up, and maybe one of those other guys gets hurt.
Type of guy, right? So like, yeah, he's not a great name for that, I guess.
No. All right. Mitch says the Jags paying Kirk like that very likely caused us in KC to lose Hill. We'll see if it was somehow for the better. Damn Jags. You might be right, dude.
The domino they pushed over like is insane for Adams, for however many receivers in the league.
And Toons wants to know, do you see any rookies worth drafting in the first 5 rounds or in redraft leagues?
Breece Hall. Yeah.
I knew that. Yeah. I figured you'd say that.
He's the easy one. I don't think after him there's a clear cut like top 5 round guy. I think Breece Hall is that for me. Wouldn't shock me if Kenny Walker gets a lot of hype this preseason and ends up approaching round 6, round 5. I'm liking him right now where he goes in round 9. Like, I think that's a really good upside stab. But, the receivers, I like Olave a lot, but not top 5 rounds. No, I think like the Walkers, the Olaves, the big name receivers, the Drake London, he's definitely the best rookie receiver in my opinion. He's still around like 8, and I like him there, but not 5. I think Breece Hall is the only one that enters the top 5 for me. Do you feel any differently?
No, I don't. I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Even though, good question.
I like a lot of good questions, especially the ones about drunk cereal.
How do you want me to edit this as far as the podcast? Do you want me to take all these out?
Nah, just leave it. Whatever. People like it, great. If they don't, like, I don't know. It's not going to be every show. It's just like free flowing.
No, these are just the best ball baked shows. It's
exactly.
Pending. Like we said, we're looking for a sponsor.
Any dispensary, right?
I do feel like we should take a couple minutes here at the end just to kind of shout out our. We talked about some sad news at the beginning of the show, and did just want to like take a minute to mention Nate Shaw, who, if you've been listening to us for a long time, you would remember this guy because he was regular. Did actually produce the podcast for a while, and then I took over. I did it before him, and then he did it, and then I did it after him. But he was like a real sound guy.
Very real,
you know, right? Like went on tour with some, you know, I remember he was with Rob
Creed.
Thomas. He was with the guy from Creed. He was doing these crazy boat cruises. And I remember he was messaging me a bunch when he was setting up a recording studio in John McEnroe's house in New York, because I'm a big tennis fan, and it was cool. He was just hanging out, I think living with the guy for like weeks. And it was just, I was so jealous of him. Anyway, Nate he died recently, like in the last few days, and obviously tears me up. He was one of our original guys. He helped come up with the one of the classic RSJ bits about Blake Bortles and Alan Hearns in London. He was on the show for that one, which is something that'll always make me think of him, and still one of the funniest things that we've probably ever come up with on the air. You know, you've known this guy forever. You know, I just know him online as a buddy. You've known him like for real for a long time.
Very long. Yeah. Kindergarten, you know, I've almost neighbors. It was tragic. It's very tragic. Such good memories. So it's like hard not to like sit here and think about so many great times. And one of the like you said, you only knew him online, but even still, I'm sure you could feel like he was one of those guys that just felt so full of life and just made everybody around him happy. Oh, you know, seniors, like it's just like that almost Robin Williams way of like, just like, you would never have known how he was struggling. He's just the best, like the best human of all. And
I mean, and I did only know him online, but I'm serious. I considered him a legit friend. Like, I mean, he would like message me and ask me like how my kids were doing, and so which really meant a lot to me. I mean,
he was always so personal.
We connected a lot. We bonded over the fact that we both we're the only guys at RSJ that had kids at the time, and it was just, you know, it was cool. He went above and beyond to like be my friend. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to like reach out. And, you know, we had some just really funny back and forths on Facebook, independent, and just really sad. We actually talked recently, just you and I, in the last month. We're trying to bring some TV podcasting back to the RSJ. And we even thought like, who can hang with us on TVs and movies? And I remember what I said. I said, Nate Shaw.
Absolutely.
And we were thinking of reaching out, and honestly, I wish we had, but you know, we're going to miss him like crazy.
Absolutely.
You know, it's been a while, and, you know, so
the best
shout out
people,
to him.
Truly. And you know, when you hear maybe we end it with the outro for him. The Here Comes the Boom that leads off every episode. You know, he made that, and he's just done so much editing, everything. He did, but again, well beyond just our time in RSJ, just one of the best humans I've ever known. I've been blessed to know for the vast majority of my life. So, definitely, you know, thank you for, you know, Truth definitely deserves the most tributes in the world. There is, and you know, now that I come to think of it, there's a GoFundMe for his family, and I'm not trying to use this as any type of anything, but you know, if anybody will flip, I'll probably link it in the description here, and maybe we'll share it out on the page if anybody's interested in helping out just with a cause for getting him back home and things of that nature. Just I'll repost that. The support obviously means the world. Certainly not expected, but if the Wolfpack wants to help a good cause, I'll post. I never ask for that stuff, so I don't want to ever. You know what I mean, though. It's
sure, dude.
As meaningful as any causes will ever be. So,
absolutely. And hopefully we're gonna do. Yeah, he did the outro. If you listen to our podcast, he did the outro also. The intro and the outro, which are both real kicking. My kids love them. Every time I'm editing a podcast, one of those songs comes on, they always they always like dance to it and groove to it. It's really good. And so I mean, and those are both made by him. And so we'll have that to remember him for a while, probably.
So talented and an even better human. Just it'll be he deserves
Hey, anybody, if any of you guys listen to us, if you ever just like need a hand or want to talk or anything like that, don't be scared to reach out. You're not alone. You know, or us or anybody else. You know, hang in there. It's tough these days. We'll miss you, Nate. That's about it, right?
That's it. Absolutely. Why don't we we'll play the outro for him. Let's and then thanks again everybody that tuned in. This is a great interaction, a really fun show. Appreciate it. You can find all the work at Rotor Street. But yeah, cheers up and thanks again. We'll miss you, Nate, for sure. Miss you. Love you.
Kuhn is the fullback with the 1st and goal. Kuhn gets the call. Pyle trying to make his way in for the touchdown. What a great second effort.
Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it now. E-double-L. I said so. I keep big bills up in my heart on the dirty like blood. So ain't got no twist in my head, but I'm still dreadful.